What if I told you that the path to having more in life requires you to do less? Not less work, not less care, but less of everything else. Less noise, less distraction, less of the things we've been conditioned to believe will bring us happiness. I know that sounds backwards. Our entire lives, we've been taught the opposite. Work harder, do more, fill every hour, hustle, grind, stay busy, prove your worth through your output. Yet somehow, despite doing more than ever before, we feel like we have less. Less time, less energy, less peace, less joy. Before we get started, check out the link in the description to download our ebook. There's a secret hiding in plain sight, one that goes against everything we've been told about success and fulfillment. Today I want to share it with you, because once you understand it, truly understand it, everything changes. Let's start by talking about the world we live in. We exist in a culture that worships busyness. Think about the last time someone asked you how you were doing. What did you say? If you're like most people, you probably said something like busy or swamped or things are crazy right now. And here's the thing. We say it with a strange kind of pride, don't we? Like being busy is a badge of honor. Like it proves we matter, that we're important, needed, valuable. But when did we start equating our worth with our output? Somewhere along the way, we bought into this idea that more is always better. More productivity, more tasks, more achievements, more stuff, more commitments. We fill our calendars to the brim. We respond to emails at midnight. We say yes when we want to say no because we're afraid of missing out or letting someone down or appearing lazy. And rest. Rest feels like failure. Taking a break feels like falling behind. Even when we're exhausted, we feel guilty for stopping. We scroll through social media and see everyone else seemingly doing more, achieving more, being more. And we think I should be doing more too. Let me paint you a picture. Sunday evening, you've had a busy week, you're tired, your body's asking for rest. But instead of listening, you pull out your laptop. You tell yourself you'll just get a head start on tomorrow. Just check a few things off the list. Just be productive. Because resting feels irresponsible. It feels like wasting time. So we keep going and going and going. Till one day, we realize we're burnt out, disconnected, and somehow, despite having done so much, we feel like we have nothing. This is the trap of more, and most of us are living in it. But here's where things get interesting. There comes a moment, sometimes subtle, sometimes jarring, when you start to question everything. For some people, it's a health scare. For others, it's a breakdown. Sometimes it's just a quiet realization on an ordinary Tuesday that you can't remember the last time you felt truly present, truly alive. Maybe it happens when you're sitting in a meeting that could have been an email, feeling your life slip away minute by minute. Or when you realize you've been so busy climbing the ladder that you forgot to check if it's leaning against the right wall. Or when your child asks you to play, and you say, "Not now," and suddenly you see the pattern. How many times have you said, "Not now"? This is the turning point. The moment when you start to wonder if there's another way. That's when the truth begins to reveal itself. Doing less doesn't mean being lazy, doesn't mean giving up or checking out or becoming irrelevant. It means something far more radical and, frankly, more courageous. It means choosing what matters, letting go of what doesn't. There's a story I once heard about a professor who stood before his class with a large empty jar, filled it with big rocks, and asked the students if the jar was full. They said yes. Then he added pebbles, which filled the spaces between the rocks. "Full now." "Yes," they said. Then he poured in sand, which filled the remaining gaps. And finally he added water. The lesson? If you don't put the big rocks in first, you'll never fit them in at all. Your life will be full of sand and pebbles and water, busy and packed and overflowing, but missing the things that actually matter. Doing less is about identifying your big rocks and having the wisdom and courage to say no to everything else. So why does doing less lead to having more? It seems to defy logic. But once you understand the mechanics of how it works, it becomes crystal clear. First, let's talk about focus. Our brains aren't designed for constant multitasking and endless stimulation. When we try to do everything, we do nothing particularly well. But when we narrow our focus to fewer things, something remarkable happens. We enter a state of deep work where creativity flourishes, where problems get solved, where real progress happens. Think about the sun. Spread out, it warms the earth. But focus through a magnifying glass, it can start a fire. That's the power of concentration. Doing less allows you to focus your energy like a laser instead of scattering it like confetti. Second, there's the principle of diminishing returns. You've probably heard of the 80-20 rule, the idea that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. It's real. Most of what we do doesn't actually move the needle. It's motion without progress, activity without achievement. When you do less, you're not just eliminating random things. You're eliminating the 80% that doesn't matter, so you can double down on the 20% that does. You're being strategic, intentional, and that's where the magic lives. Third, rest is productive. I know that sounds like a contradiction, but bear with me. Nature understands this. Fields need to lie fallow to regain nutrients. Athletes build rest days into their training because muscles grow during recovery, not during the workout. Even the best musicians know that the silence between the notes is what gives music its power. Your brain and body work the same way. Creativity doesn't come from grinding. It comes from giving your mind space to wander, to connect dots, to breathe. The best ideas rarely come when you're staring at a screen at 11 p.m. trying to force them. They come in the shower, on a walk, in the quiet moments when you're doing nothing at all. And finally, doing less gives you something priceless: clarity. When you're constantly busy, constantly moving, you never have time to think, to reflect, to ask yourself if you're going in the right direction. You're so caught up in doing that you forget to ask why. But when you slow down, when you create space, you can finally see clearly. You can evaluate, adjust, realign. You can make sure you're living your life, not just surviving it. Doing less isn't about being less. It's about being more of what truly matters. So how do you actually do this? How do you break free from the trap of more and start living with less? Let me share 5 practical ways to begin. First, prioritize the essential over the urgent. Urgent things scream for your attention. They create stress and pressure and make you feel like everything is on fire. But essential things, the big rocks, they're usually quiet. They don't demand your attention, they invite it. Time with loved ones, your health, your creative projects, your inner peace. These things rarely feel urgent, but they're what matter most. Start your day by asking, what's essential today? Do that first. Let the urgent wait. Second, schedule white space intentionally. This might be the most counterintuitive advice of all. We're taught to fill our calendars. But what if you blocked off time for nothing? Time with no agenda, no meetings, no tasks, just open space. Time to think, to rest, to be. Treat it as non-negotiable as any other appointment because it is. This is where you recharge, where insights emerge, where life happens. Third, practice saying no more often. Every yes is a no to something else. When you say yes to that extra project, you're saying no to time with your family. When you say yes to scrolling social media for an hour, you're saying no to reading that book you've been meaning to read. Saying no isn't selfish. It's self-aware. It's understanding that your time and energy are finite and you get to choose how to spend them. Start saying no to good things so you can say yes to great things. Fourth, focus on quality over quantity. This applies to everything. Relationships, work, possessions, experiences. It's better to have 3 deep friendships than 30 shallow acquaintances. Better to do one thing excellently than 10 things poorly. Better to own fewer things that you love than a closet full of things you never use. Ask yourself, would I rather do more, or do what I do more meaningfully? And fifth, embrace silence and slow moments. We've become addicted to stimulation. Music in our ears, screens in our faces, constant noise. But silence is where you meet yourself. Slow moments are where you notice life. Try this. Go for a walk without your phone. Sit in your car for 5 minutes before going inside. Eat a meal without distraction. And at first it will feel uncomfortable. That's okay. That discomfort is showing you how disconnected you've become. Push through it. On the other side is presence, peace, yourself. These aren't complicated practices, but they're profoundly powerful. And they require one thing above all else: courage. The courage to live differently than everyone around you. To trust that less can be more. So what happens when you actually do this? When you stop chasing more and start choosing less? Let me tell you what it feels like. You wake up without dread, without that heavy weight of 100 things you have to do. You have space to breathe, space to be. Your mornings aren't a frantic race against the clock. They're peaceful, intentional. You move through your day with clarity. You know what matters, and you spend your energy there. You're not scattered. You're focused. And because of that, you're effective. You get more done, not by doing more, but by doing what actually matters. You have time for the people you love. Real time, present time, not distracted, half their time. You have conversations that go deep instead of staying surface level. You create memories instead of checking boxes. You rediscover your creativity. Because your mind isn't cluttered with noise, it has room to play, to wonder, to imagine. Ideas come to you again, like they did when you were younger. Before you got so busy, you feel calm. Maybe for the first time in years, there's no longer this constant hum of anxiety, this feeling that you're forgetting something or falling behind. You're simply here, now, and that's enough. You stop comparing yourself to others because you're no longer playing their game. You're playing yours. You've defined success on your own terms, and it has nothing to do with how much you do or have. It has everything to do with how you feel, how you live, who you are. This is what doing less gives you. Not less life, more life. Just better, richer, fuller. Here's what I want you to understand, and the world will keep telling you to do more, to be more, to have more. That message isn't going away. It's baked into our economy, our culture, our social media feeds. There will always be pressure to keep up, to stay busy, to prove yourself through your productivity. But you don't have to listen. You can choose a different path, a quieter path, a path where less is actually more. This isn't a shortcut. It's not about hacking your way to success or finding some magic formula for having it all. It's about redefining what having it all even means. It's about understanding that a life well lived isn't measured by what you accomplish, but by how you feel while you're here. By the depth of your relationships, the richness of your experiences, the peace in your heart. Doing less is an act of rebellion in a world that glorifies busy. It's also an act of wisdom. Because at the end of your life, you won't wish you had worked more, achieved more, owned more. You'll wish you had been more present, more intentional, more alive. So I want to leave you with a question, one that I hope stays with you long after this video ends. What would your life look like if you stopped trying to do everything ... and started doing only what matters? Think about it. Sit with it. Yeah. And then maybe, just maybe, have the courage to find out.